So is diet or exercise better if you are trying to lose a lot of weight early on? If you have 50 pounds or 100 pounds to lose like I do, which one is better? And what I focused on first, really after failing for 4 months, was my diet. And that was the only answer for me. What happened is the first 4 months, I played around with different diets. I tried OMAD, I tried um, carnivore, keto. I tried a whole bunch of things, but they really just weren't sustainable for me. So my answer to that very question was my diet. And in February, it really became a goal of mine to focus on this. What I realized is I didn't gain my weight from not exercising. I gained it from how much I was eating. It wasn't really even necessarily what I was eating, it's how much. So focusing on my diet was a big thing that I needed to get under control. And I couldn't outwork how I was eating. I never have been able to, except for when I was a teenager playing three sports all in high school, running, lifting, all of that stuff. I was able to kind of out eat or outwork my eating. But as I've gotten older, my activity's gotten lower, and I just don't think that I could keep up with how I eat now. So my mistake was I was avoiding fixing that diet, so I focused on other things such as trying to make drastic shifts to my diets to try to balance that out. So like I said, I tried fasting, I tried OMAD, I even tried like Atkins, and it just didn't last. But it wasn't because those didn't work. They worked for the short period of time that I did them. But the problem was is I couldn't stick to it. I just wasn't consistent enough, and it was such a drastic change from my normal eating that I just couldn't stick with it long term. Now, if you're great at starting something new and being consistent with it, I think that those are valid options. It just wasn't for me. So my real problem isn't what I ate. I said this before, it was how much. So I finished my plates. I usually ate the leftovers of my kids if they were there because I was trying to not waste food that we had paid for, and we usually were getting like appetizers or desserts. If we ate out, if we ate in, there was candy and treats and snacks all over the place. So I had multiple things that I could go to if I still was feeling hungry, even though it really wasn't probably a feeling. It was more boredom eating. Excuse me. So my turning point was in February. I got to a point where I'd lost 20 pounds, but I was really struggling through January to lose any more weight. And February 1st, I decided, okay, I need to focus on the one thing that is really hard for me and that I hate doing, and that's focusing on my diet. I hated tracking, I hated trying to restrict myself. So I needed to find a way to not do those things, but still get that under control. So what I did is I said, I'm stopping with a diet. I am not going to diet anymore. I'm going to eat what I want, just not how much of what I want. So I'm going to set a calorie target that I cannot go over. So I found my calorie target by going to a TDEE calculator, putting in my parameters, and then it spit back out a number of how much my body should burn. And it came up to 2,900. And I decided, okay, my goal is 2,500 then. That would give me a 400 calorie deficit based off of that information. So 2,500 calories per day, but inside of that 2,500 calories, I can eat anything I want. So this would be one of my things that I eat. It's not very often, and what I would do in the past is I would eat the whole container, which is about 960 calories. What I've been doing is I'm better at paying attention to the serving size and how many servings are in the bag. So I can have a serving of those for 140 calories because it's inside of my 2,500 calorie diet. And that's what I mean by when I say I can't eat as much as I want, but I can eat anything I want. So I started to become more consistent. I wasn't miserable worrying about what I wasn't able to have because I could eat anything. And I didn't feel the pressure of I can't have something because I shouldn't. So I started to lose weight. In February, I lost 8 pounds doing just tracking my food and staying under that 2,500 calories diet. And the big realization is I didn't need a better diet. I just needed that consistency and the parameters of the calorie deficit. If I stay within those calorie deficit, I can eat whatever I want, and I still lost weight. So month one, I tracked my food. That was my main goal. Is I wanted to track with a 90% success rate through February. So I ended up tracking 26 of 28 days. One day was the Super Bowl. I did not track that day. I just counted that as a day. Hey, I'm going to eat and enjoy the family time and enjoy the sport I love. The second day was just a busy weekend day, and I just didn't get around to it. So 2 days I missed in February, and I still lost 8 pounds. So this month, what I've done is I've really started to focus on continuing to track my food, but now I've added 10,000 steps. So there is an activity portion, but without that diet consistency first, it would have been very hard for me to make the next adjustment, I think. Because walking 10,000 steps, especially the first week, hurts. And it makes it harder the second week to want to keep doing that. And here I am 23 days into February, and I have done 10,000 steps every day except for today so far. And then my goal is in month 3 is to keep going doing both of those things, and I want to start lifting. So April 1st, I'm going to start lifting 3 days a week. So that's another adjustment I'm going to have to make. But again, this is all building consistency. Had I not started with my diet and tracking in February, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now because my diet would have fluctuated a lot more. I would have been frustrated trying to figure things out. I probably would have stopped at some point and then had to restart. So building this consistency up to this point has been a huge part of why I've been able to lose the weight that I've lost. And when I weighed in on Friday, I was at 326. So that's 30 pounds down from where I started. So why does this work? Well, diet is the control. So if I can control my diet, everything else I do is just amplified on top of that. If I keep my calories under 2,500 calories, then I add in the walking. The walking is going to burn more calories. And then as I lift, I'm going to start building muscle. My body's going to burn more naturally through the day just because of the muscle mass. And then I'm exerting myself again. So it's just going to keep compounding on itself to the point where I'm hoping I'm losing a significant amount of weight fairly quick because I'm doing these things correctly. If I had to restart back in August with 100 pounds to lose still, what I would have told myself is skip the extreme diets and just start tracking your food. I am the biggest proponent of hating tracking until February because I really sat down and in February figured out that, hey, this is my struggle point. Without this data, I cannot really make sense of what's going on. So, had I done that in August, I'd be 6 months into tracking my food, and I feel like I would have been a lot further than what I am now. I'm happy with where I am, but I think I could be so much further. So if you're starting, if this is your first time seeing me and you are asking your questions about, should I exercise or focus on my diet first and I want to lose X amount of pounds, this is what worked for me. This is my plan. Track food and stay under your calories. You can find your calories by going to a TDE calculator. I will put the link for that in the description so that you can go check that out. You put in your information and it spits out a number. I focus on the sedentary number because at the time of starting this, I was sitting at home a lot. Track your foods, stay under your calories. So then once you have your TDE, you drop it by 500 and that is your goal. Stay under that number. If you're a big person like me, that probably is in the 2,000 range or higher, depending on how much you have to lose and what your weight is, what your height is. But stay under that at all costs. Shoot for the 90% success rate and try to stay under that number for a month. So I am documenting everything I do as I go. Each month I'm putting out new videos, or each week I'm putting out new videos. And I'm doing them in this style because I'm not good at scripting. I'm not good at reading off teleprompter. I want this to be real, authentic, right here with you and me. So I am tracking everything that I do. I'm documenting that. I'm sharing information on TikTok, Instagram, Substack, creating articles on Substack, and then I'm doing videos on YouTube and Shorts as well. So I would love if you would subscribe and follow along. That way you can kind of see how I progress over the next few months. I'm really hoping that by my birthday, I am under the 300 range. That gives me a little over 100 days to get there. And that would be a 30-pound loss in the next 100 days. So that is my real big next goal. And I'm going to do that by doing these things that I've shared with you today.